Hello, good day. Hopefully you're having a good time. Today we're going to speak about healing finances. When your finances are not the way you would want to see them, when things are not going the way you want to see them, you could be in debt. You could be just at a breakthrough. You could be in surplus, but you would want to get better. This is how we heal our finances. The different methods we could use to see results. The physical methods, things you can do. There are spiritual methods. There are also methods that involve the description of your identity. So we're going to start with the basic methods. If your finances are not why you want to see them, the first thing you should do is start monitoring your balances. Some people don't monitor their expenses, their income. They just spend whatever money comes their way. They just use it. They don't make any recordings. However, it's very important that if you're to win in this financial game, you have to make records. Make records of your income. Make records of your expenses. Write down your creditors, your debtors. Write all the information that you could need to monitor your progress in this journey. So start by writing down your bank balances, your income per day. Write down who owes you money, who you owe money. Write down all those things. Create on your sheet. Create different accounts of the things you would want. For example, you'd want to have like a savings account. You would want to have maybe the money you're saving for your children's account. Maybe you have certain bills you have to pay, then like how much money you're going to put on your rent, and how much money you expect to spend. Like you create an account. This is for maybe from like a folder for your parents. Then also you can create a folder for SWADAC. SWADAC is charity. So that you can monitor, maybe weekly or monthly, you know how much money has gone on what. There are some expenses that you do unaware. There are some expenses you just do, but if you can monitor them and you know this is the amount of money I use for my mobile data, for example, this is the amount of money I spend on groceries, this is the amount of money I I spend on charity, this is the amount of money that's in my bank. If you can monitor and know, it would give you a higher ground in studying and seeing how progressive you can get in your finances. So please start following the numbers in your finances, because when you don't follow them, you're going to make some decisions that you wouldn't have done just in case you are really following and making records. It will help you. It will help you minimize certain expenses after looking at how you spend, how much money comes in, and from where. You will change the way you think about your finances. So that is number one. Please monitor, check your balances. And number two, tell someone about it. Tell someone what you're doing, someone who you can be accountable to. Because if you're just doing it by yourself, you can do it for some time and then give up. However, if you have someone who will help you, like a family member, who will help you follow up, who will help you question how far you've gone, that will push you to continue following the practices you've started to do to enable your progress in your finances. Another way you can improve your finances, you can heal your finances, is by giving from what you earn. That one is taught in many religions or spiritual groups. You're always told to give back from what you have earned. There is what they call zakat for the Muslims. There is what they have zakat, and then they have sadaq. Sadaq is just giving when you want to give. Then zakat is compulsory for those who have reached a certain level of income. And I think it's what I've told you about having an individual who is going to make you accountable. And the accountability is known to benefit anyone but yourself. So I think zakat is one of those things that help you be accountable. And then there is what the Bible calls it's the 10th, 1/10. Yeah, 1/10 of what you earn, that you should give it back to charity. There is significance in giving back or in making charity. There is big significance to your wealth creation, progress. Some of the things that I talked about as the importances of giving is that spiritually you'll get protection over your finances or your wealth. You need a protection. Why? Because if you're to build and then a storm comes and destroys, then you'll have to build again. You'll start from zero or even negative. So what we are told the giving does is it protects what you have accumulated, what you have in stock. It protects even you, the giver. You're protected. You're protected from financial losses. You're protected from accidents that could harm your health or your family. Your family is protected generally. So you need that protection. And in this wealth creation game, you need protection so that you can go forward, and you're not already starting from one or from negative. So giving is another way to heal your finances. Then there is something we hardly look at, but it's very, very vital. It's the identity. If you see that you're doing businesses and you're not being successful at them, you could have watched that you've done like a number of businesses. I won't mention the number, but you try different industries and still you're failing. You try different ventures of where you can invest your money, and you invest and then you fail, and you think it's a business problem. Most of the times it's not a business problem. It's an identity problem. Identity is how you see yourself. Identity is how you can define who you are, how you do your things. It's something we build, and it's built like from childhood, 1 to 7 years. You're just absorbing what you're learning, what you see people doing. All those years contributes to your identity. Your society contributes to how you see yourself, and your finances are defined by your identity, how you see yourself. Actually, identity is the ceiling. How come some people are not able to go beyond a certain amount in income? Then also, how come you can't go below a certain level of income? That the moment you go below a certain net worth, you are alerted, and you have to put in some effort so that you don't stay below. So that's done by the identity, how you see yourself. So most of the time, like always, it is you. If you see something in your life and you don't seeing a change, and there are times someone would say, I've done everything, I've read all the financial books, I've done everything. What you call doing everything? It should be that when you do something that's significant in the situation you're in, that you get results. So if you're not seeing results, that means you haven't done everything. There is something you don't know. So I always encourage those I'm with that please continue seeking. Please continue seeking knowledge, because by the fact that you don't have the results you want, it means you don't know something, and that thing is an obstacle in your financial development, and it's unseen to you because you say you have done everything, meaning you're not looking at that direction that's affecting you. So most of the time, what people who say they've done everything have missed is who they are becoming, who they define themselves to be. So in this case, you'll need an identity shift. You need to look at yourself as someone who already has what you want to have. You need to look at yourself as that successful entrepreneur. You need to become that successful entrepreneur. And this starts at a certain level. It's not about just that I'll do this, you continuously keep doing. If I have not got the results, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. It's about being who you're becoming. Who are you? And the limiting factor in many of these cases is that every one of us has a threshold. You have the upper limit of what you can achieve, and the lower limit of what you can tolerate. So you're always in between there. You don't go beyond a certain point, and then you don't fall below a certain point. And by having that in your life, that means you're experiencing you're having a certain experience. You're used to having a certain experience. Like the people who have failed consistently so much, they're used to being in that situation of failing, that they don't know winning. So that affects you if you have never experienced winning. If you've never experienced being a successful entrepreneur, this could take, if you're starting a business, it could take like a period of like 3 to 4 years to have that experience of that sweetness of your hard work, that feeling you get when you see you having a profitable business. Once you get that feeling, you can never go back. Now, that gives us the limiting factor. Why some people consistently stop at a certain point and give up? Because they have not experienced that feeling of success. They have only experienced a feeling of starting a business, working hard here and there, putting up the necessary structures, and then at one point feeling stuck, and then giving up, and then starting another business. That is what they have practiced, and that's what they know. That's what that's what their fields know. So it becomes hard for someone to kick that gate to go to the other side where they can feel the happiness of having a successful business. Now, in this case of identity shifting, you're going to need to make a description of who you want to be, the successful entrepreneur, who you want to be. And it's going to entail a number of things. It would look like, the list would look like your wardrobe. What would you wear? How would you walk? Who are the people you think you will engage with in case you're successful? What are the topics you think you will discuss about in your season how emotionally, how you will be. Would you be an open-minded person, or you'll be a guarded person? It looks at a number of things, and those things you have to include them in your description, so that you can use them in your weekly or monthly meditation of altering your identity. Once you note down the different things that differentiate you now, the current you, and then the ideal self you want to become, then by doing it clearly, by noting down that this is how I'll be breathing this is how I would breathe when I'm a successful person. I'll breathe from my stomach. I would breathe deeply, not just breathing from my chest. All those things, or you need all those details. That's your picture of how you want to be like when you're successful. And you'll meditate, and in this meditation you will have to alter from your current status as someone who has failed in business for a long time. You'll have to go through that period of feeling the pain you've gone through, feeling how stuck you have been, seeing the things you have been unable to do because you're not financially well, looking at how you've been limited, how you've been constricted because you're not financially well. Then you step into that version of you that has the success you want, that drives the car you want, that lives in the neighborhood you want. How it would feel, how would you would relate with people happily. And so it's about, the meditation involves you going being your ideal self, then coming back to your current self, then shifting into your ideal self, and then finally you would stay in your ideal self. So that would be an identity shift. It can be a very long discussion, but I've summarized it. We have looked at 3 points of how we can heal our finances. That is it for today. Hopefully next time we can venture into other ways of healing our finances. But please, if you can only monitor those 3, if you can evaluate more often your income and your expenses, and you note the different things you want to note down, make records. If you can do what we have been advised in the different spiritual grounds, that when you give, you get back, because that is law, that is truth. Once you give, be ready to receive. Just be ready. You might not receive from the exact people you've given, but be ready, be in that space of receiving. And the receiving mantra I can give you is, I receive as easily as I breathe. I receive as easily as I breathe. My presence is enough. Meaning you just have to be present and you will receive. So you don't have to overgive, overdo and stuff like that. You don't have to people please. There are things you don't have to do so that you can be in your space of receiving. So There's and the last thing was identity shifts. The way you see yourself. Please see yourself as a successful person. Stop seeing yourself as someone who has failed. See yourself as someone who has already achieved what you want to achieve. And in that case, you will act from that space of an achiever. Because an achiever, someone who is achieving and winning in what they're doing, they act different from someone who feels they're failing. So always act from that energy of you are a winner, you're going to win. So, and even the things you do are going to be for those people who win. Thank you for listening to me. I guarantee you more beautiful content is coming on this channel. Content that's going to create clarity in your mind. Content that's going to solve the puzzles you've been having. Please continue listening to the videos, and also feel free to comment. And I would also like to upload those who are interacting with me, telling me how we can do things better. I appreciate. Thank you. That helps growth. And also those who are commenting, thank you. Those who are liking, I appreciate you most. And to those who have subscribed, thank you very much. And you can also tell others to subscribe to this channel. Thank you and welcome to Nankanja Foundation.